Okay guys, this will be part 2 of note editing, updating, and we left off at this template right here. What I want to do is go to the event and we're going to pre-fill the forms with data. So let's say we could actually copy this whole line of code here. Now let's make a note here to say the output is the template and we only want to pre-fill the data after the template's in the DOM, otherwise it won't work. So display data after the DOM is created. Let's call it the template. Okay, so we have the container, and what I want to do is .find and .title. Okay, and we're going to change the value of that. I'm going to duplicate this line, Control Shift down, and I'll call this one content. So we're going to need the content, so let's take a look at what our class names were. When I go to the note, we have a note title with an ID, we have a note content with an ID. Easy enough. So I'll say var title equals, and get rid of the obj. So note underscore title underscore note ID dot HTML, and I'll duplicate this one, call it content, and replace this with content. And then we can pass our variables in here, and I'm going to go ahead and test that out. Make sure you look at your code carefully with underscores and everything, because it's very sensitive. Don't forget your pound signs. I'll go ahead and refresh, and let's see, edit, and that fills that up nicely. Cancel, edit, cool. So what we want to do also, and not forget, is when I update this description, we want to update the hidden DOM element. So let's go to where they do the note, update note, and remember how we changed the HTML here? We also want to do that for the content. So I'll just duplicate the line and say content, content. And what that'll do is if I refresh the page, I say edit, jargon 2, fish fries 2, save, and I hit cancel, edit, whoops, edit, it has the 2 after it, so it's up to date. Okay, so next let's make it so when they click this button it shows the contents, and let's see what that's called right here, the ID of the note, and then we have the note title. Let's give it a class. I'll call it note toggle. Okay, and we'll go to event.js, and where do we list these? In the main initiation, I believe. So let's make sure we have this in the right order. If I go to my dashboard, we go load note, we have template and event above it, so we could use the on handler or the live handler. So I'll close this out. Too many files open makes someone go crazy, and we'll just make a method. So we're going to make a method. We'll just say toggle note. Okay, and I'll just go to the bottom and var toggle note equals function, and remember it was called note toggle, so dot note toggle. We're actually going to want to do the body on click because it's dynamically loaded. Dot on click function. Oops, got a little bit messy here. Forgot my parameter right here. Okay, so body on click note toggle. What happens? Well, let's first add an E here and do e.prevent default. Also, this has to be like that. And there. Okay, so note toggle is here, and when this is clicked, I want to show the note content. Let's give this a class of note content. Oops, it has a class over to the right already. Let me put this over to the left. Okay, so that has a class of hide. I'll just call this note content, and I'm going to look in my file to see if I'm using this anywhere else. Just these two places. Make sure my class isn't being used, and I'll say whoops, this dot find note content dot remove class hide, and let's make sure that works. Click. It does not behave. I don't know if it's finding it. So this dot find note content. Oops, let's do next. Refresh and click, and it doesn't want to work. In fact, it'll actually be a lot easier if I just add in a data attribute. So let's say note toggle. We'll just get rid of this note content again, and up here we'll say data ID equals object.note ID. So when the note toggle is clicked, we'll get the data attribute of ID, which will have the note ID. So this dot data ID var note ID equals this data ID. And then instead of selecting it this way, we will say we'll select this by the ID. So I'll say note content. Don't forget my # for our class. Note ID dot remove class hide. Let's check out what happens. Refresh, click, and there it is, there it is, there it is. Whoops, I'm clicking edit for those ones. Click, and that shows the description box. So what I want to do is, if it has the class, hide it, otherwise toggle it. So let's just do toggle class hide. Refresh, jargon, jargon, hey, hey. So now that toggles those classes. At this point we can give it a full run. Let's refresh, and I'll edit just this empty one and say dog, save, and it shows dog there. It shows ASDF under the form. I'll edit this one. I'll say pig, and this is a note. I'll just copy and paste that a few times and save it. Okay. Now, if it's successful, it might be wise to also hide the form. So let me hit cancel, make sure all that's there. Okay. So how about once they save it, we also hide the form? Under event. So if it's a success, under update note, and then the form is the note edit form, and what I'll say is var form equals this, and I'll say form dot remove, and we'll go ahead and refresh, edit, save, edit, save. Okay, error saving. What happened? That error happened because there were no updates. So one thing we want to do is, because remember our CRUD model returns the number of affected rows, nothing's being affected when we just save the same old data. So in this instance, I think I'll just open up the API class, and make it successful no matter what, because it's unlikely we'll have an error. Update note, and I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm going to put a comment here. Do not check the result, because if no affected rows happen, they will think it's an error. Okay, so let's try that again. Refresh, edit, save. That should be always returning a success. Oh gosh, there we go. And refresh, edit, save. Okay, cool. I think that will do it for this for now. Okay guys, after that long, difficult updating, this will be a very easy, short video, and it's to delete a note. So let's go to delete to do in our event file, and we have all this stuff. I'll just copy it, and I'll go to delete note, and right here I'll just paste it in here. So let's see, we'll say the note delete on click. Pretty much changed note ID with everything. Okay. So let's take a look at our API.php and delete note. We can go to our to-do note. Actually, that doesn't make sense. Our to-do note, sorry, our delete note. Delete to do, and I'll copy this. Go to delete note, paste that in there, and this will change to note model, and this will change to note ID, and the rest should be good. So I'm going to open up the template file where the note template is, and we have a delete button somewhere. Here it is, class note delete, right there. So we'll give it a whirl. Here's my database at the moment, and I'll go ahead and refresh the page, and I'll delete dog, and it said error. So let me open up my console, click it, check the network tab, and it says could not delete. Let's see what we're passing through. Note delete, that's our form data. So dog, let's make sure that it's passing note ID. This needs to be note ID. You make a typo, and it's the end. Delete dog, he's gone. Delete FF, he's gone. Refresh, and they're gone. And they're gone. Okay, so that is it for the note delete. Okay guys, we're going to make the forms display dynamically when they type something in, so that it appears right in the list and it can be used, so that there won't have to be a page refresh. And we're also going to add some Ajax loaders. Now, I went ahead and just created two Ajax loaders, one with a gray background, one with a GIF, and I'll provide you with these loaders in a zip file. Just make sure to put it under your public/image, and that just helps indicate something's happening. So first, let's do the little Ajax loaders for when these are loading. I'm going to open up my NetBeans project, and I'm going to close out everything and just make sure I have a fresh set of eyes. So there's a couple ways we could do this. We could either define the Ajax image in a JavaScript variable, or we could use a CSS tag. I'm going to go with the CSS tag. So I'm going to open my style.css, and down at the bottom, just under generic stuff, I'll say .ajax loader, and and I'll also do one for Ajax loader gray. And with these, what we do is just a background URL, and since we're in style, we want to go to image, so a directory down, Ajax loader white.gif, and if I open this guy up, it used to show the size here. Nope. Bummer. That was really useful. Okay, well, I'll just guess. I'll say width is 15 or 16, and the height is 16 pixels. For this, I think I'll copy this guy over. Just do comma there. And so these will both be the same height and size, but with this one we'll just do gray, like so. And I'm just going to test this out in a view. So I'll go to Application, Views, Home View. I'll just throw it up here to test. Div class equals Ajax loader, and then also Ajax loader gray. Make sure I got those class names right. Okay, so let me log out, and it was in the home view, so here it is. Here's the white one and here's the gray one. The only difference is this has a little bit of a gray background, so it fits on our whales that we made in Twitter Bootstrap. Okay, so we can use those. Go ahead and delete them. And let's see, let's go back to our JavaScript. Shrink these down and close this so don't get too distracted. And under the template.js, where we load our objects, oops, that's actually dashboard.js. Let me close that. Load to do. So what we're going to do is actually have an Ajax loader, and we could actually put it right in the list to do. The reason is because when we do HTML output, it's going to overwrite everything. So back to the views, dashboard view, and here's list to do right here. Okay, we'll say div class equals Ajax loader. We actually want to do gray for that, and then same thing for the note. Okay, now let's log in, just admin, and refresh, and we can barely see it if your page loads really fast. So what's going to be interesting is what's going to happen if I have no data here. We don't want it to keep showing an Ajax loader, because then it's going to look broken. So I'll go ahead and delete, and refresh. Okay, looks like it doesn't stick around, so that's great. Next, what we can do is make it so that when we create an element, it automatically inserts it. And since we have a template, we don't have to retype a whole bunch of code. So I'll go ahead and close out this dashboard view. And I'm going to go to my event. And when we create a to-do, so it looks like this to-do isn't really working right here. When we create it, it should append to the list. So I'm going to console log o.data, and then below here I'm going to console log output, which is the template, to see what we're getting. And I'm going to press Control-Shift-C in the browser to see this guy, and let's just say test. Completed of undefined. Well, that's part of the reason it's not going to show. So the data that gets called back when we create a to-do is just an ID. So to pass data back into it, looks like we're going to have to adjust our callback. So we're passing in OData 0. O.data doesn't really have a 0. I believe we changed some stuff up which made this occur. So let's go to our controllers API and let's look for create to do. Here we go. And for the output, we're just putting the result. So in here, let's do an array, and we'll call this to do ID will be result. Content will be, I thought we posted content up here. Well, it's right here. I'll just do this for now. And complete is 0. Okay. And then in the event, let's see if we get a different response back. So now we have data and to do. And you don't see any square brackets. These are squiggly French braces. So that means we are not inside of an array. So this could just be O.data. However, yeah, I believe that should be good. So refresh, DDD. There it is at the bottom. Let's try 222. There it is there. And I want to make sure this can be deleted. So I'm just going to inspect this little area here. And here's the ID 39, so that looks correct. And make sure these are listening. Cool. Tick it off. I'll refresh the page. There we go. So that inserts it correctly. What I want to make sure is that they're listing in the right order. So I'll write hey, hey2, hey23, and make sure it's hey, hey2, and hey23. Yep. Delete, delete, delete. Refresh. Just making sure it works nice. So when we delete something, we probably want a confirmation box, and we'll just do something pretty easy. So I'm going to look for delete. I'll just search for it, and right here we have delete to do, and body on click, I'll just say var c equals confirm. Are you sure you want to delete? And if c is false, return false. So if they hit cancel, which will send back false, we're just going to stop everything and not go any further. So let's try that out. I'll click here. Are you sure you want to delete? Cancel. Try again by hitting OK. And there it goes. Cool. Let's do the same thing for notes. Dynamically add them. So let's see what it does when we create note callback. And we want to do the same kind of callback we did in API, like pretty much this similarly. So let's go to create note. And the data, let's make this an array. This will be note ID. And make sure we have a note ID variable somewhere. It's called result. And title. I'll just copy this stuff. These should be in variables since we're using them more than once. I like to make sure this is going to work first. And with the note, back to the event.js, let's first copy this from the delete so that we don't forget to add that right in the delete note. Okay. And then let's go to the create note. I just press Control F to look for it, and I can get rid of this little 0 there. Just like we did in the to-dos. So let's refresh. Test. There it is there. I'll put in some numbers. Shows the description. Can I edit it? And then try deleting it. Looking good. Cool. One last thing is when we create a to-do item and hit create, I don't know if we want to empty out these forms or not. I guess we could. Won't be too hard. So when we do a submit create note, let's see, post data, submit, we want to clear the form. Okay, so we'll say when it's successful, I'm going to make a var form equals this, and this refers to the create note. So I'll say form, actually that's going to be harder to do that way. Let's just do create note input dot val and quote, and make sure you have 2 quotes in here so it makes it empty. So I'll go ahead and delete this, and let's refresh and test create, and it erased that. That's a text area actually. And it erased the submit. So let's do input type equals text. I'll duplicate this line, and let's do a text area. Now text area, it doesn't have a value attribute, so I'm just going to see if this actually works. Test create, and it cleared it out. Cool. And we'll do the same with the to-do. To-do will be just as easy. So when we create a to-do, let's get rid of these console logs also. We'll say create to-do input type equals text. We don't want to clear the submit button. Dot val is empty. And let's try it with a to-do. Test create. There we go. Okay guys, we're going to do a little bit of code cleanup and refactoring. This project has taken a while to record, and I kind of changed the way I like doing things. You don't have to do this, but I might recommend it because it sorts things out better. What I'm going to do is make a new folder in public and call it third-party. And under here, I'm going to make a new folder called CSS, JS, and image. So this way I'll have a separate thing. Third party means I didn't make it. Everything else means I made it. And it's just way easier to sort stuff out this way. So I can put all these third party guys in here with my images. Glyph icons apply to Twitter Bootstrap, and the CSS, everything except for style. Okay, and then for the JS, I don't need this subfolder anymore because this is all stuff for our project. And I'll go ahead and delete junior dash right there. So what I don't want to forget is to change all these links in my views. So let's start out with the home view. and we're going to have to go to the header right up here. And here, this will be public / third party. Third party. And the style should stay the same. So I'll go ahead to my page and log out. And to be sure I didn't miss anything, I like to open the network tab, and if anything appears in red, it means you missed something. Okay. And let's once over the footer, nothing there. Next, let's go to the dashboard includes, header, and we got a bunch of stuff in here. So the Bootstrap is / third party, the style is our own, jQuery is third party, Bootstrap is third party, and with all this junior dash stuff we can get rid of like that. Okay, and I'll go ahead and log in and make sure that works, and make sure you get no red items. If you have red items, you just got your paths wrong, and it's easy to fix. So that cleans that up a bit. What I also did was I got rid of all my console logs. So inside of my my own JS folder, you can just do a find and just look for console.log, and mine comes up empty because I removed them. And you'll want to remove them because in Internet Explorer there tends to be problems on different operating systems. Internet Explorer is a real pain in the neck, so that cleans that up. I do want to show you this. We didn't do this at all, but I'm really limited on the real estate I have on this screen because we're recording it. But you see this little minus sign, we can shrink that down to get more real estate. But also you can drag these tabs and you can edit up and down from each other. It's hard with the size of the screen right now, but you can also move it to the side. Like, it's a little tricky to get there. Let me put it back to where it was. There it is. And you could edit files side by side, which is pretty cool. We didn't do that, but I'd like you to know about it. So that about sums it up for this video.